Okay. So we cracked the code. We literally cracked the code, everybody, with the whole milk thing. Oh my gosh. With the cream thing. We cracked the code. So after my little demon episode where I was standing in the shoes of the future, the demons of the fear demons of the future, what will life be like when everyone around me has passed away, when everyone around me is gone, and there's only more people who will die and reproduce around me? What will life be like? Will I go to a 55 plus community and just take in all the information of people who are passing away and absorbing the ancestors of the past from all walks of life in this area? Because this area is highly traditional, but also very diverse, very historical. And the people who have settled this place, who now and in the future, when they do go into retirement homes, they have so much information to impart. And would living in a 55 plus place community give me that extra information? And I'm thinking, like, that might not be a bad idea in the future, to be in a place where there's a lot of history and people who are on their way out the door and they're releasing their knowledge. Like, either you talk to them, they're releasing all of their proteins, and those proteins I'm taking on, and also releasing shedding my old skin, my old ways, and just taking on their information. And that's been my whole life, is going to so many different diverse places, taking in the information, adapting to it, evolving myself. Even though that's not what I was actively thinking that I was doing, I was evolving myself, wanting to know everything. That's why when I was a kid, I would sit in my business math class at Akalani's over there in Lafayette, California. I was sitting in my business before I left home. And I would sit and look out in the hills and be like, I want to be out there. I want to experience things. I don't want to be sitting in this damn classroom learning about business math, how to write a check, how to do business math. I mean, yeah, it helped me, I guess. But really, when you think about it, what helped me was just going to that GED class, the 180 hours of math and English, to study for the GED, and learned everything like in a couple days, and took the GED a few times and passed it, and then did the ASVAB and studied for that and then passed it. And then of course going to remedial math in college, community college, like algebra 1, algebra 2 and all that. And so, I learned what I needed to learn that was in high school. I learned it in college. But it was just like, I wanted to experience stuff. I wanted to be out there. I didn't want to be sitting in a fucking class. I wanted life. I wanted to experience life. And so I did that. Because you could, even your body knows. Kids that are so like ADHD maybe, or they're so active and they're so wanting to glom onto life, and then they're being forced into a position, when you think about it, and told to stay in that position for however long until someone says, okay, now you're free, you can relax now. That's kind of what's going on. These poor children. That's what I'm saying. If you can't survive your childhood, I'll tell you, adulthood's going to be even harder. But they have to learn that. They have to learn that way where you have to be forced in a position for a certain amount of time, and learn that position and work from that position. And so that way you have something to work from. When you think about it, you have something to evolve. Okay, so I'll tell you, everyone has their own horror stories or hardships of childhood, but that is the foundation you work from, and you build from that. And some people don't. Some people don't survive their childhood. They barely even survive their adulthood. Some are suffering in their adulthood because of so much unresolved childhood trauma, and that could also be sicknesses. And so when I'm thinking about like the future, the internet is one way to take in knowledge. Okay, that's one way. And then also being around people who have also evolutionary proteins, who have so much diversity in their biochemistry that also does evolve a person. Okay, so there's so many different types of evolution. There's body, mind, and spirit. Your body, all the physical proteins you come in contact with. Your mind, what you feed your mind. Your spirit, how you deal with your ancestors in your body, in your mind and your spirit talking to you. How are you using their messages? Are you even aware that when you dream, those are messages from the ancestors? But we have psychological spins. When you have a dream, someone wants to go and psychoanalyze you, which is fine. I do that all the time. I'll go and remember my dreams and go and Google all the different things that were in my dreams that I can remember. And some of them were so vivid because the reason why they're so vivid because the ancestors and other entities like dark forces were gathering. That Monday before that Illuminati video came out about me, when I had that dream of falling and the dream of just different people, the dream of just so many different things, and it was so active that even Cindy, somebody on my Facebook was saying that was so active that even wore me out. Shit, it wore me out too. Sometimes I'll wake up being like, geez, I just went through so much energy. Okay, so how you respond to your body, mind, and spirit, that's the thing about that. You know, humans today, they probably don't even know how to respond to their body, mind, and spirit. So everything is external and they're very surface oriented and even just very basic. And so when I was standing in those shoes and then I when I ate a bunch of whipped cream and I just released those demons, now I feel like both my armpits are open. I was coughing up loogies this morning. My elbow's a little bit sore. And then I was looking on the internet about milk and all that stuff. And I guess some athlete is like obsessed with milk. But see, it's not the milk that I'm obsessed with. Yes, milk is, yes. But you know what I'm obsessed with? It's the cream. It's the whipped cream. It is the milk on steroids, not literally, but it's a milk exponential. It's the cream. The cream is what gives you life. The whipped cream. Milk does too, yes, but that's not enough. Whipping cream. You take it to the next level. You need the fat. And so then I discovered that, yeah, I pieced together the last 5 years where I Google how to lose weight with milk and how to gain weight with milk and does milk make you shit? Well, of course it does, but this is more than milk, it's cream. What gives you life? Milk, cream. What religions have put memes where they showed a bunch of people sucking on the udder of a cow, making it look so pejorative that someone says, oh gosh, it's not natural for humans to drink cow's milk. So what are we going to do? Suck on the breast of some neighbor down the street? Drink human milk? Oh, you shouldn't drink milk at all. Or they're like, oh, drink goat milk. Okay, so goats are smaller than cows. Okay? Goats are smaller than cows. The reason why cow's milk is so amazing and turn into creams because the fat content, the protein, all the nutrients, the lactobacillus. Then you develop this enzyme called lactase that helps break everything down. And then that's why it's the sweet, because the sugar. And you add in sugar and all that. You need sugar, you need glucose because your DNA, your little ladders of DNA, the hydrogen bonds. Okay? All of that requires sugar. And when people are taking away the fucking sugar out of their diet, they're starving themselves. The diabetics, you're diabetic because you're so fucking unbalanced in your hormones. You've allowed the medical system and the holistic system to fuck you up. You've been in so fear of pain and symptoms. When I felt the pain of my stomach gurgling from that cream, I didn't go like, oh my God. I just sat with it. If I had to shit, I shit like you wouldn't believe. Imagine someone diabetic who's really obese. There's so much weight to them, so many unbalanced chemistry, so many little demons in them that are turning off their hormones or turning on other hormones that make them out of whack. And they're holding all that shit inside. And they're going to get somebody going and tell them, don't eat this, don't eat that. Let me go and give you this therapy and that therapy. Let me do a surgery on you. People are fucked up. And they took away milk out of your diet because milk has sugar, milk has fat. Milk makes you feel uncomfortable. You're lactose intolerant. Well, yeah, because you're not allowing your body to develop the enzymes to help break down your food. That's why people are starving, because they can't handle the food supply because they have systematically, generationally taken away food from themselves. And so when young girls and boys from their parents who are going through diabetes and heart attacks and strokes and everything under the sun, they may be all nice and like relatively healthy. They can eat this and they can eat that. But as they get older, their predisposed issues come up. Older meaning they're aging out. And the cures that they were under for so many years are wearing off. The body wants to grow and molt off the old world and wants to grow and evolve. And they don't allow it. Then they stop feeding themselves. They say, oh, well, I'm going to stay away from this, that, and everything, the other thing. When babies, when they're born and they have all this inflammation and they're given milk and they're like, oh my God, mommy is so freaked out because baby has a rash, baby has acne, the baby has all this stuff. Baby's crying. Baby's trying to fucking evolve and release the demons. That milk is releasing those demons. That milk is developing a little army to release those fucking demons that are causing the curses in the genetic line. And what do mommy and me groups do? They're like, oh God, give the baby soy protein. Give the baby soy this. Give the baby soy that. Stay away from milk. Stay away from this. That poor baby is starving. See, we understood one side of it in the J world that you need salt. How much? Now there's everything. Again, you have to figure this out. Salt wakes things up. It did in the beginning. You felt the symptoms. The body had to release. You release a lot of demons, but then you get cured and then it works against you. But you need salt in your food. And so, last night I made a little hamburger around 9 o'clock at night. I put a shitload ton of salt on it and a piece of cheese. And I ate that before I went to sleep. So my body was craving it at 9 o'clock at night. And so salt, you need salt. Okay? But you don't need so much of it, but you need it in your food because it's the bonding. The salt can actually cause negentropy, which is bringing together the cells to then help your organs, your vital organs, stay intact. Okay? And then the milk is the fat. You don't just get your fat from a marbleized steak. You get your fat from the milk. From the cream. Not even the milk, the cream. And if your body has to release the demons, it can release the demons. So now we understand now the other side of it. To lose weight, you have to shit. And if you're drinking milk and you're feeling like you're getting acne, you're getting the shits, you're feeling uncomfortable, that's called evolution. That's called your body pushing out the fucking curses that are in your genetic line. If you can't handle food, because milk is not poison. Oh, but somebody will religiously be against it. Somebody will say that milk has been tainted by the factories or by, processed food, whatever. You will see everyone out there who is allergic to milk, lactose intolerant, and a lot of them are East Indian, African American, those that are genetically predisposed to having an issue with processing milk. They will say milk is poison. And they will systematically starve themselves of milk. Not do milk or whatever, not even cream or anything like that. And now you see a lot of these cultures have hypertension, diabetes, cardiovascular issues, starvation issues, so much obesity, or they're not keeping the weight on. They're so skinny, it's insane. And they're actually the ones that are scaring you away from milk, meat, cheese, eggs, fruits, vegetables. There's absolutely nothing some of these cultures can eat. And so I feel sorry for these kids out there. These kids who are starving. Their parents are starving. They are starving. They have health issues. They can't handle a change in the climate, a change in the atmosphere. Hold on. And so when the system changes the climate, or when there's climate change and there's more instability, because the system, even before the 60s, Charles Manson was told all this information. I can imagine what people were like in the 60s. The academics were really smart, and then you have the lay population who were just like, not really, just all moony-eyed. And someone like Charles Manson's like, yeah, speaking whatever he's speaking, and also talking about there's going to be an apocalypse, there's going to be a big machine that's going to do this, it's going to change the weather, it's going to change this, and it's going to be total devastation. Well, I can imagine what Charles Manson was saying to all of his followers. I can only imagine. And so when you have a machine like CERN that was formally turned on last year in July, and that's when I had the major sickness of waking up the demons in the body. But that was turned on way back in 1960s, little by little. Of course, when you know about stuff, right? When you hear about what stuff is, it's been going on for years, just like weather warfare. It's been going on even in the 1960s. They were doing that weather warfare even over there in Vietnam with the rains. You hear about that? Oh, but it's a conspiracy theory. Okay. So when they're turning up, the particles accelerator, when they're turning the particle accelerators on slowly but surely, and even more so during the change in seasons, and that's why we get cold and flu season, allergy season. People are conditioned to accept that allergy season is going to happen, cold and flu season is going to happen, and then also blame all the symptoms on all the, of course, everything in the environment, right? I'm allergic to pollen, I'm allergic to fur, and this and that, and blame it on the V's as that campaign picks up speed. Because that V campaign, the anti-V campaign, that was used as a patsy. It's called controlled opposition. And it's a Leninist type of government infiltration to develop the revolutions. That's how they control both sides. And I knew it, you just got to figure out how do you say it. But at this point, you say it now, people know about it because it's fucking urban dictionary. We hear about it, people think, oh yeah, this person's controlled opposition, this person's controlled, So there's all this blame game, everyone's pointing fingers at everybody, right? And so you don't even know who the fucking enemy is, right? It could be your fucking best friend, it could be your husband, it could be your wife. You don't fucking know anything, really. But, not my husband, because I found him on a flirt app when I was in California. Okay, it wasn't like someone said, here's this dude, you want to go hang out with him? So there's some organic where you make a choice, but when it comes to the overall politics, religion, science, that's all controlled opposition. That's all fucking controlled opposition. That's why you have to really now check your politics, check your religion, check your science. And when they're starving the fuck out of you, making you having you rely on herbs, extracts, and detoxes, and operations, and oncology, and taking food away from you, and saying it's okay to die, that's a controlled opposition. That's the depopulation agenda. Jesus. And so now, milk. You need the salt. Abso-fucking-lutely. You don't need that much salt, like salt water. You don't need that much. You need enough to wake up the demons, and that's fine. The J juice was about waking shit up. But the J juice is not the end. You need the milk. How many of you are out there are like, oh, I don't like the taste of milk. I don't do cream. I barely even do this. I only do vegetables. I'm going to go and do a carb binge and vegetable binge. And so you know what? When you only eat vegetables, maybe you'll eat a little bit of meat. When you only eat vegetables, a little bit of meat, and carbs, you are a noodle. You are a vegetable. Maybe you're a little bit of meat, right? Because a little bit of meat keeps some of the proteins on. But you barely have any fat on your body. The fat is the insulation. The fat is the reserves to give you substance. Because you see those guys that are pumping fucking iron, right? They're all proteined out. Muscles are as big as this. There's hardly any fat in their body. The runners, the marathon runners, hardly any fat on their body. Yes, it's a quick reaction time when you're doing Olympian type stuff, but you get a climate change and there's electrical surges in their body. They don't have enough insulation to go and help protect them from that electrical surge. And so that quick reaction time takes them out. That's how you can use exercise against somebody. Take away most of their fat and they're all fucking muscle. Just look at what sexy is out there on the internet. See all the guys, I don't have a lot of fat, but look at my pecs. Look at my muscles. I mean, I'm watching Emily in Paris, and the guys in there is run by, or produced by Darren Star. Darren Star, he did all the Beverly Hills 90210 and Melrose Place, and they are influencing you to make you look like really skinny. Watch Netflix and Emily in Paris. The girl's fucking skinny. She's starving. She needs a hamburger and a flippin' milkshake. The guys are all buffed out and pecked out and looking like some Greek god. But that's just temporary programming. And they're all about sex, of course. Having threesomes and everyone's having sex with each other. I'm just like, wow, what a programming. They're totally just programming the millennials, the Gen Zs, and even the alpha and the beta generation as they're growing up to be all about the sex and looking like, skinny mini, like look at Jessica Simpson. Skinny, she needs a hamburger. She needs a fucking milkshake. Oh no, she's selling a product line for the Kardashians. Oh. You look at Paris Hilton, you look at Nikki Hilton, skinny, skinny, skinny. Everybody's all skinny. So when you're in some place in Europe where the frequencies aren't as excessive as they are here, because you see storms are brewing in different places, but some places, they're just nice and calm and peaceful. So they don't have to deal with having to protect themselves with fat, so they could be skinny, 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 and all buffed out and looking all whatever in that part of the country, doing all the filming and influencing people over here in America who can't afford to be skinny, 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 because we have fucking climate change going on. That is excessive, and they need the fat. They also need the milk to release the demons because they're holding on to ancestral curses in their body. And the reason why they keep going to the hospital because they don't know how to release the demons. The reason why they keep getting operations and cancer disease and chronic illness because they don't know how to release the demons. And so someone's always operating on them. Someone's always sucking something out of them. Someone's always doing oncology on them until there's nothing left, until they have bankrupt that person's body, mind, spirit, and their bank account. And then you see all these mommy and me groups. That's why last night when that guy was not to say arguing with me, but he blocked me, and I was just like, whatever at this point. When he's demonizing Bill Gates, and I let him do his thing. The reason why I blocked the young lady, because she has a kid. She's not moving. She's not budging at all. She's going to stay within her own paradigm because she's the all-knowing mother. It's very hard to talk to mothers because they think they know everything. Fine. Have fun with your kid. So she's gone. But last night, I allowed this guy to come on and say stuff about, I was saying something about releasing, what was I saying? Let me figure out what I was saying. Because I should give you the whole story. And he was just totally, oh yeah. It says there's 12 comments, but there really isn't 12 comments because I deleted them all. Let me see. Let me make sure that's the right one. Oh, maybe that's the right one. Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, that's one he argued with. Because I was coming back at him. Okay. Let me make sure. What caused? Okay. Okay, when food breaks you out. Yeah, the 25 comments, and there really wasn't 25. Because that's when I was going back at him. Yeah, okay, that's the one. So when I said when food makes you break out in hives, it means your body's trying to release the demons. The food was never poison. You just had a lot of bullshit in your body that needs to leave. You have been psychologically programmed to starve yourself and work yourself to death. And when you are lactose intolerant and the Northern Europeans are not, makes you wonder what kind of psychological operations were infused in your politics, your religion, and your science dogmas. Your religion turned you away from the food that was necessary to keep you alive because they only wanted you to use you temporarily, and you fell for it. Now you have a chance to save yourself, save your religion, your culture, your children, if you can handle releasing the demons and taking on the substance and the pressure. Because look at which culture is not lactose intolerant. Yes, some people are obese, underweight in some of these Northern European countries because they have a closed immune system. They haven't released the demons. They're too afraid to. Now they have a chance. And so many people in the first world and maybe in developing countries have a chance. Even Klaus Schwab has a chance to save himself and everyone in the World Economic Forum. So Northern European countries like Finland, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Switzerland, these tall Caucasians built like brick shit houses. The women have big boobs, sturdy bodies, like you saw back in World War II. The Aryan race that Hitler was promoting. Now you're gonna read the PubMed of why it is that the Northern Europeans are not lactose intolerant. Why is it that the East Indian, Asian, Mediterranean, even the Jewish descent, the African American population have trouble with breaking down milk and taking on those necessary nutrients? Why is that? Did that happen way back in 6,000 years ago when they developed the different races? And some races, the Northern Europeans were drinking milk. I mean, everything is evolutionary. You can evolutionize someone, you can de-evolutionize someone. So when this guy Ed, I won't say his whole name, but this guy Ed was just like, yeah, I see where you're going. This is very interesting. I'm going to share this. And by the way, food is poison, or they're poisoning the food supply. Oh, and I just went, I just said so many things. I said, no, you're being brainwashed against the food supply. When you are that deficient and they're introducing minerals and fats and proteins and whatever, and even mRNA, when they're introducing evolution to your food supply, they're strengthening the population. If you have trouble dealing with symptoms, you will anyways, because you will inevitably be in contact with that food supply, whether in a restaurant or you'll be around someone who's going to cough on you and you're going to take in those spores. You're going to have a strong immune system, which means you're going to have to take in food and take in nutrients and air and water and adapt to your fucking surroundings. Oh, but no, he goes, I have proof. They're poisoning the food supply. Look what's in the V's. And that's why I got away from the anti-V's. I got away from all the activists out there, because in reality, what's going on is you're hearing people who are already deficient, starving, malnourished, can't handle any kind of food. They can only handle vegetables and noodles, and that's it. And they are now trying to prove everyone's trying to destroy them. When in actuality, when you think about it, they're destroying themselves from the starvation, from the lack, from the intolerance to their environment. They're under the influence 24/7. They're distracted like all hell. And I knew this guy had a little bit of red flags because he was trying to like prove about, I don't know, the whole gold-backed securities, and Nasara and all the financial bullshit. And I'm just like, whatever. I'm not going back and forth. But I let him post that stuff because sometimes you need to have that friendly, because he wasn't necessarily like mean, but you need that friendly back and forth just to get your juices moving and also develop another awareness. But it's strategically done. Now, I don't know what maybe choose him versus somebody else. He definitely is still very neck deep in the protesting activist world. And so I said, no, you're brainwashing to believe in the food is poison. You're brainwashing this. And I mean, I was just straight up. I didn't care. If you took offense to it, fine. I mean, I could have been more, I could have been softer, but no. I could have been softer, but I'm like, no, it's not necessary to be softer. Because he's going to take himself out of my situation here. Honey, I will talk to you. Hold on. So then I put give me 1 second. What did I say in response to that? Jesus. I got so much crap. Then I said, I don't want proof someone's trying to kill us. I want proof that you can survive the environment. There's two kinds of people, half empty and half full. If your whole life is about proving someone's trying to kill you, they will. Not literally, but you will allow them to confirm to you they're trying to destroy you, because you won't do anything different except say they're trying to kill us and here's all the proof. Here, I have all the proof. Like you saw in Conspiracy Theory with Mel Gibson. He spent his whole life connecting the dots. And he's not saving himself. He's not doing anything different. And people will say they have the solution. What's the fucking solution? What makes your solution better than somebody else's solution? That's what the thing with that guy. He's saying, I'm a solutionist. I'm not an evolution. I'm a solution. Okay. Solution is all relative. So if you have a solution, then you go practice your solution on yourself and prove to everyone. And we'll see. We'll watch you. We'll watch your solution. We'll watch that guy's solution. This girl's solution. This guy's solution. But yeah, when you're taking food away from you and you still die anyways, was that the fucking solution? Obviously not, but your friends and family are going to learn that obviously taking food away wasn't the solution to saving your life from dying. Oh, but you're supposed to die anyways. Then what's your fucking problem? Right? There's two kinds of people, half empty and half full. If your whole life is about proving someone's trying to kill you, they will, and your glass will always be half empty. Even those who don't want proof someone's trying to kill them, they don't have the intention to survive. There's a mainstream people out there who are just like, yeah, you're all conspiracy theorists. Who gives a fuck? I'm going to go get my oncology. I'm going to go party. I'm going to do this. And I'm going to die, with a bang and be happy and be all this. Okay, let them do that. Thank you for your service. We appreciate you. You're the backbone of our world. And then there's evolutionists. There are people that realize something's going on and they want to live. And those are the conspiracy activists that realize something's going on, but they don't know what it is. And they're all confused and they're milling around trying to figure out what the issue is. And they don't really have a solution, but their solution is more pills, more powder, supplements, detoxes, operations, activism, trying to stop someone from doing something, trying to stop someone from speaking. So we have a zillion solutionists out there. They're all like chaotic and Tower of Babel, okay? And so if you are one of those that are like trying to find the solution to all this, you have half a chance. But let me tell you, when you're doing the same solutions done in the mainstream, when you're trading your oncology, radiation, chemotherapy for a fucking garlic oil and apple cider vinegar, and you're applying your body with all that every single day with elderberry syrup, it's doing the same thing. But you think it's safer because it's natural, when the intention is to stop the freaking symptoms. The intention is to stop the body from reproducing at that time, but it will reproduce even more demons. The intention is to disable your immune system from feeling stuff. But can you tell someone who's like, oh God, pharmaceuticals are so bad, and they end up applying themselves to so much of the tinctures that are offered in the homeopathic world? You can't tell them that that's the same type of intention with very aggressive elements, or they're under the influence. They're like, oh yeah, don't drink, person, but here, do a cannabis, do medicinal cannabis. You see, those people are out there, right? That they say, oh, alcohol is so horrible, which, okay, it has its moments and doesn't have its moments. But you really think replacing alcohol with cannabis is even any better? Oh, but they're in pain, they're suffering. Okay, well, fine. But that's what goes on out there in the activist world. Like extreme activists. Those that are mainstream, they're just looking for something just to give them the relief so they can go back to their job and do whatever and just go out with a bang. Fine, replace one addiction with another. That's already to be expected. But then those that are activists, wow. They are doing exactly the same thing as a mainstreamer, but they're just more boisterous about it. That's the irony of the activist world. And so I say, they will, and your glass will always be half empty. Even those who don't want proof someone's trying to kill them, they don't have any intention to survive. They are okay with dying someday. That's most of mainstream society. So if you were worried about dying, maybe you have half a chance, right? If you were concerned about someone trying to harm you, maybe you do have half a chance. Those that don't even blink an eye or care, right? They're just like, whatever, I don't care. Or think everyone is benevolent. Oh yeah, go get this surgery, go get this, go get that. They don't have half a chance. They're too busy getting all the newest, greatest, and latest surgeries. And all the pills, power supplements, detoxes, and pharmaceuticals. But if you're concerned, you have a chance. Use your energy for something to save you. Not blame someone else. Prove to people that you can survive this. I'm trying to prove you can survive. My glass is half full, and I will stay alive. I will not die from natural causes. There's no reason for me to die from natural causes. And the food supply is not killing me. I'm around people who have been therapized, and I can release the demons. I can walk into any environment, take it on, my body will deal with it, and I will still be okay. And then when I go home, my body finally assimilates, I'll release any demons that are excessive, and I will develop a new evolution and become stronger from being in that environment that was foreign to me. Even going into an insurance office I'd never been in was a strengthening process. Afterwards, I released the demons, and I'm stronger, and I took on a new evolution. So it could be as simple as just walking into a restaurant, walking into an insurance office, walking into any place that you don't normally walk into. And it could be even a different state, a different climate, a different country. And so choose your own adventure. Proving anything to anyone is bullshit, and it's a distraction because you ain't saving yourself. When you're too busy acting like freaking Mel Gibson in Conspiracy Theory, which they knew back in the 90s, because Conspiracy Theory was so prevalent, was introduced to us through Mel Gibson. And who was that? It was Roberts. Julia Roberts, or whatever her name is. Julia Roberts. Okay? Predictive programming there, people. They knew the future was going to be full of people who were going to be spending their whole fucking life connecting the dots. And I did, but I also developed a solution that was ever evolving. What's the solution? Well, you got to face the pain. Drink milk. You need more salt in your diet. You got to release the demons. You got to stay home, stay safe on some level, especially now that we have climate change. And you have to figure out how you're going to extricate yourself from some craziest stuff in society and find a way to balance out everything. Obviously, you can't stay home all the time, like I can. So you have to learn how to balance it all. So why don't you prove to yourself you can survive the environment? Because if you can't survive it, then you just wasted your 40 years of your life. And if your activist friends are dropping like flies, dead even after taking all their pills, powders, and supplements and detoxes, Maybe the answer isn't your fucking pills, powders, and supplements and detoxes. So why don't you figure out how to stay alive instead of blaming everyone for trying to kill you when you only did it to yourself? And if you don't wake up to this, all you're doing is wasting your breath, but it's yours to waste. You can transition out of your job. You don't have to put as many hours as you have. If you scale down your lifestyle and your belief systems, you can still make money and save yourself and still help the fucking company stay alive. What good are you when you don't exist anymore? What good are you to anyone when you don't exist anymore? When the world has squeezed every bit of life force out of you. And that's what's going on right now. Either the jobs are squeezing life force out of people because they don't know when to pull back and chill out, or your friends and family are squeezing the life force out of you, trying to help them all the time and do whatever they want you to do. Or it's the activist community trying to squeeze the life force out of you. Oh my God, here, look at this connection, look at this connection. Look, I have all these links and pages, and look, wow, look at this connection, look at this connection. It's fucking, I mean, I do a lot of research because I can afford to. You know how many years I put in studying stuff? You know how many years I put in dealing with bullshit? People just at my demons at my fucking ankles? Even when I was trying to save my dog? Okay, you gotta put in the fucking time. It just doesn't come like that. Like all of a sudden you just wake up and now you're like healed, or not even healed. You wake up and now everything is great. You have to put in the time. People want the shortcuts. Well, when you get the shortcuts, you sign a deal with the devil. And you sign that deal with the devil, you sign the dotted line, whether it's a pill, patch, supplement, detox, or an operation, you're going to have to pay for that. First, you're going to pay in money because you're paying your insurance premiums, or you're going to pay in the pain because you know those painkillers are going to wear off and you're going to have issue with mobility. Not that you couldn't come back from that, but it will be even more painful than before if you didn't get the surgery to begin with. But you can't tell people that because they were sold that, oh yeah, you get this surgery, you get this oncology, you get this, you get all that. Your life is going to be so much better. I guess until a new frequency change happens and everything you've taken is like now wears off, or it's a died suddenly situation. And so this is to all the mommies out there, all the mommy and me groups. Your fear campaigns against the food supply is the intention of the ancestors to destroy their children, family, and friends. And it's fucking sad to watch. People actually infusing fear of the food supply against their own culture. You are destroying your own culture. It's fucking sad to watch. But again, when you have lactose intolerant, you can't handle that. Any really milk-based products, and all you're eating is protein. Maybe way back 6,000 years ago, that was the intention, to build a race that doesn't really drink milk, but they're mostly full of muscle. So they're eating just protein. Mostly protein, yeah, some vegetables. But they can't handle milk, the fat, to give them the insulation. So they're strong as an ox, pulling things, labor intensive. So you take away milk from this population. And of course, yes, they are Olympians. You see the Ethiopians? During those long marathons, they kick everyone's ass because they're all muscle and energy. That's it. No fat to them. But it's a short lifespan too. Because when you have fat on your body, it's a little bit slower reaction time, but it'll save your life in a very high frequency environment. When you're training for an Olympics, yeah, you don't want a lot of fat in your body because it's a slower reaction time. But that's also a short lifespan. Look at Schwarzenegger. Look at all the Olympians of the time of way back when. They're deteriorating because their whole life of building muscle and performing for other people cannibalized them. And it's happening today. We have kids that have autism, they're Asperger's, or they're on the spectrum, or they have other issues. They can't handle milk. And so what are they given? Soy protein. It's a complete protein, yeah. They're not getting the fat. That's a short lifespan when you're mostly just muscle, no fat. And then you're seeing the skinny models out there selling you sex. I mean, I'm looking at TikTok, or not TikTok, but Facebook Reels. You see all these tall Asians. They're like 10 feet tall, super white, very, very snow white. And they're so tall and skinny, and people are like, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful. That's the celebrity worship. That's the god worship. That's the Greek gods. The Greek gods are based upon the development of people through hormones. Taking away food, making them intolerant to food, and conditioning them to perform in a certain way. That's the diversity in our society. You'll come into the world, whatever programming someone has given you. If you want to survive once you've performed for your masters, if you want to survive that, now you have to go put the fat on your body and learn how to adapt and feel the heat. Like when I ate that hamburger last night, right after I ate the hamburger and cheese, I felt the heat of birth. I was feeding my body and it was giving birth to new cells. And then the next morning I'm releasing, whether it's poop or I'm blowing my nose. And I'm fine the next day. That's survival. That's being uncured. And so then you realize a huge population out there has been withheld food because they were made to do a job, whether it's labor intensive or anything else. And maybe that's why certain cultures are stronger in the Olympics, because milk was withheld from them. And then you have sports stars that have obsession with milk, the calcium. You don't see too many of them, but you hear about them. You Google sports star obsessed with milk. But it's not just milk, it's the cream. I'm doing the cream. I'm not even going to the milk. My husband drinks the milk. But I'm going straight for the fucking big guns. The cream. The fat. And so, yeah, so it's fucking sad to watch people actively infusing the fear of food supply against our own culture. So yeah, if you've been culturally lactose intolerant, and your grandma and your grandpa and everyone, and they all have hypertension issues, yeah, you got to feel the pain of release. You got to release those demons. Those demons were bred into you to be a slave to somebody else, even 6,000 years ago. Whether a slave in the brain to produce innovation for your masters, or a slave in the body hauling things. Your body has to be so strong. Not only the fat, but also mostly the protein. But even, like I said to my husband, honey, do you even have milk on your truck? No, he has the cream, like the soy that's in his coffee. But when he was feeling constipated after drinking the jelly juice a couple years ago, he felt constipated and he wasn't going to pick the shit out of his ass. So he drank a bunch of milk to release the demons. But he's not drinking gallons of milk. He'll drink milk out of his cereal. But he's not putting milk in his coffee. He puts the soy or the creamer that has soy proteins. But I took cues from him because he did buy milk. I buy milk for him for his cereal. But I'm the one now is drinking actually the cream. And so parents radicalize their kids into intolerance. And that even means, that they can't handle food. I have parents that their kids are vegans and vegetarians. Their kids are vegan or vegetarian in California. Skinny, skinny, skinny. That's California for you. They want the up here. And this right here won't be able to handle this once they use up most of their resources in their body and they can't handle and they start contracting even more stuff. Yeah. Hope you had a good life. Hope they had a good life. Very short existence. All right, time to close the blinds. The sun is going to blind the shit out of me. So I'm snarky. If you do not like my snarkiness, then fucking eat and feed your kids. Stop starving them. Deal with your symptoms totally differently. If not, stop bitching about everything. Hugs. Some people are just giving up. They don't bitch about it. They just like, oh, everything's great. Until it's not. And then when things happen, they're like, oh, God, pray for me, everybody. Pray for me. Yeah, it's pretty predictable. So Gen Xers, prepare for the future in America. Boomers, what are you doing to stay alive and take care of yourself? Millennials, what are you going to do to prepare you and your kids to survive climate change? Or will they be temporary, like you, or unlike you? Survival is not dependent on anyone else but you, so will you stop blaming or stop inducing food fears? I can bet most likely not. How you react to symptoms the next 17 years before Gen Xer retires will be so telling, so telling. Will you survive getting to retirement or retirement? If all the boomers passed away before they draw Social Security, more money for us. Is that your plan, boomers? If it is, thank you. Please do not change. Thank you for your service. Please be in fear of meat, milk, cheese, eggs, fruits, vegetables, lab created or not. You will leave us more money and more food to redirect the future. Thank you for your fears. Thank you for starving yourself and your kids and culture and religion. Your fears and intolerance will allow the future to develop. And so then I said American retirement age. The law raised the full retirement age beginning with people born in 1938 or later. The retirement age gradually increases by a few months for every birth year until it reaches 67 for people born in 1960 or later. 67 is the retirement age. So the next 17 years before Gen X retires, are you going to survive that process? Those of you who are the silent generation or boomers at this point, do you have what it takes? Or are you going to now take down your whole family? Don't drink the milk. Don't eat the milk. Watch out for this. Watch out for that. If you have someone who's already African American, who is lactose intolerant, who is now saying, don't eat this meat, because eventually it's going to be lab created meat. You're not going to have factory meat or even organic meat. What's left for your kids to eat? Soy proteins, soy boy, vegetables and fruit. And so their body isn't able to handle releasing the demons. Then you get diabetes and hypertension and cardiovascular issues, which is famous in African American populations, Indian, Jewish descent. So many cultures out there have so many predisposed issues. And now you're actively inducing fear about this food when you already are intolerant to the necessary milk that the bodies need. So you see how even a culture can take down themselves and their own family because of food intolerances. Obese people should be drinking milk and releasing the demons. Since milk is rich in protein, it may aid in weight loss and muscle building. Protein-rich food like milk can boost weight loss by improving metabolism and increasing the fullness after meals, which may lead to lower daily calorie intake. People with high blood pressure and diabetes should be drinking milk and releasing demons. People who have just been to surgery need to stop getting surgery and start building their body up. Aging people like aging out, people who are getting older or deteriorating, need to drink more milk. Skinny ass people need to drink more milk. Humans are malnourished. I'm telling you, my boobs are bigger. My thighs are a little bit bigger, but not that much. I have fat in my face. I got substance to my body. I'm not skinny, and I don't want to be skinny. Not in this environment. I want to have body to me. I'm not trying to look sexy like fucking Jessica Simpson selling a product line for the Kardashians. I'm trying to survive. I don't need public validation. I don't need people worshiping sex all over me. I want them to worship life and living and surviving and thriving. An analysis of 9 studies that looked at a total of nearly 60,000 people found that consuming just a little more than 2 cups of milk a day was associated with lower blood pressure. Imagine doing cream. After 2 cups of whipped cream, I was shitting on my brains out. If I was obese, I'd be losing weight because I'd be losing the programming that caused that weight to pack on the pounds to begin with. Your shit is the programming. Why do you think the Indians over there, the Hindus, worship the cows? And so they have yogurt-based foods. But then what do they do on top of that then takes away the life? They're doing the turmeric, the curries. That's how they take away life in the Indian culture, and also causes a lot of reproduction. Because when you're doing so much milk and yogurt-based type of foods, and then you're adding all the spices, a spicy food in the Indian culture, Hindu culture, now you're developing so many mutations. and so many children. So when you think about it, that's probably why there's 1 billion people even in India, because of that dichotomy. They're not staying alive indefinitely in India because of the milk, because of all the spices. And then you see what happens in the Indian culture. The shamans or the gurus that are doing their stuff, they're so skinny. So skinny. Just go to the pages of India and look at the different swamis, the religions around playing with your hormones. It's insane how this is embedded in culture so deep and so generationally. So your shit is the programming. People are so afraid of their shit. That's the programming that's causing you suffering and maybe giving you your strength. But I'll tell you, because someone is pretty uniform in their job and they're strong, releasing the demons of potential of the aging process, aging, is not going to take away the gifts of strength. You're going to have the muscle memory. You just got to save yourself and release the demons that are causing you the aging process, because that's taken away from your potential as far as staying with your job and the conditioning of your job and the gifts that were given to you even at birth. People are so afraid to evolve. They think they're going to lose all their gifts. No, you will have the gifts because you already have the memory in them. It's just releasing the things that are causing the body to eventually give out, because it will. Look what you have. Look at your parents. Look at your grandparents. They may have been strong at one point, yes, but they started to weaken up because they never released the demons. Those demons cannibalize them. And so when someone's aging out, it's their ancestors cannibalizing them. Some of you are suffering and miserable, and yet you still hold on to demons because they are your friends. You're afraid to lose your identity of suffering. You love to suffer and you hate it, but you still hold on to it. And so a little bit of suffering is conditioning to strengthen you. Addicted to suffering means you have no incentive to change. You love to suffer. Most people are addicted to suffering. Just look at their Facebook. Your body wants to be proportional. Your body wants the weight. Your body also wants to lose the excessive weight. Are you willing to do the work? Release the demons. You are the gods. Ambrosia, the nectar of the gods. That's what Greek mythology is, not mythology. It was actually people, and they understood the power of milk. And so Greek, Roman, then you have Northern European countries, Greece, and you look at the food, Greek food, there's milk-based stuff. Then you go into like East India, East Africa or Africa. You go into, I don't know, Asia, East Asia. And milk really isn't part of their fare, their food supply, really. Okay, who's getting the short end of the stick? But even when you look at the lifespan of those in Northern European countries like Denmark and Switzerland, it's like maybe it's 80 something, 88, 87, and then in America it's 77 is the lifespan, the average lifespan, and maybe in Japan it's like 84. But they still look like the Crypt Keeper. The elderly look like the Crypt Keeper. They're losing collagen. But when you really think about it, the strong people in our society, the Nordic gods, those are people who are worshiping the strong people. Those are the titans. Yeah, because they were drinking milk, ambrosia. They weren't on fucking diets, giving their kids plant-based everything. That's why when I deal with a mother on my Facebook in the J world, and she's all protective over her kid and anything you say about mothers, I don't even deal with that, because she is her own God. She wants to be that God. She wants the power. So I realize that not all mothers are like that, but some who have issues with my information. Yeah. And so you are the gods, ambrosia, the nectar of the gods. And that is the cream, the fruit, coconut flakes. And so what is the story of Ambrosia? Ambrosia was the food of immortality. Milk is the immortality. In one story on the birth of Apollo, Zeus used ambrosia to turn him into an immortal after Apollo's mother lost her life. Zeus made sure that Apollo was born successfully despite his mother's death, and after he was born, he ate ambrosia. Milk is the answer to gaining substance. And yeah, you're going to have to blow your nose, you're going to have to shit, you're going to have to cough, sneeze, and hawk up loogies. If you eat predominantly carbs and vegetables, like those out there who cannot handle the food supply, you'll turn into a noodle and a vegetable. You are what you fucking eat. And so if you pride yourself in being skinny meaty and only eating this and only eating that, and yeah, good luck to you. Good luck to your kids. They're gonna fucking need it. And so the system has been turning up electricity, stirring for some time now. And of course, blaming the unstable proteins on the V's was a perfect way to hide climate change and develop a patsy, even if it was a therapy. Effing brilliant. Then when they turned up electricity even more so, causing more proteins to become unstable, developing another theory for someone to blame the instability on, that's fucking awesome. Then you have the GMO, you have the chemtrails, you have everything under the sun. People are blaming everything on the salt, the sugar, the processed food. That's what you call controlled opposition. You've all been had. At this point, you couldn't tell a person so deep in the blame game against the V's because they devoted their last 20 years of their lives against the V's. Oh my God, that's conditioning. That's some conditioning for you. Not to mention all the campaigns against the food, water, and air, and evolution. What is controlled opposition? A controlled opposition is a protest movement that is actually being led by the government agents. Nearly all governments in history have employed this technique to trick and subdue their adversaries, which is you, because you don't want to change. Notably, Vladimir Lenin, who said the best way to control the opposition is to lead it ourselves. The best way to control the opposition is to lead it ourselves. Huh. How many people in the anti-V world are actual government-controlled agents? You will never fucking know, will you? No, you won't. Because again, remember, how many people are so invested in this? The Alex Jones world. How many people in the Alex Jones world are actually controlled opposition and hangers-on that were being thrown bones? Here, you lead this movement. We'll make sure that you get so many YouTube views, influencing this, influencing that. You don't know who the hell is out there. That's the thing about infiltration. That's the thing about playing the game of fighting somebody else's war. It's not your fucking war. You were just told to blame someone because you don't understand symptoms, evolution, or anything. That's humans, even 6,000, 2,000 years ago, easily led. If they don't know any better and they don't have any knowledge of the past because they keep dying and reproducing, it's so easy to fool a population, a generation of people, and reinvent the fucking wheel over and over and over again. Count Mirabeau was part of the controlled opposition because although everyone thought he was supporting the revolution, in reality he supported the monarchy and was a personal friend of the king. He was a government agent. So you look at Trump, Biden, DeSantis, who else? Oh gosh. Tucker Carlson, Don Lemon. Kind of ringing bells for you? Maybe not. Some of you are still knee deep in worshiping, so you'll never fucking get it, which is fine. And so milk is life. It's concerning to me when people cannot handle life. Was that the design? Well, you tell me. An analysis of 9 studies that looked at a total of nearly 60,000 people found that consuming just a little bit more milk, more than 2 cups of milk, was associated with lower blood pressure. When you have a closed immune system and you can't handle symptoms, of course evolution in life will be a problem for you. Holy shit. How do you develop lactase enzymes? You must release the demons that are causing you to be deficient. Too many people want to hold on to their demons. So they hold on to these things that are attacking their ability to produce lactase enzymes. They won't take in milk because they don't want to feel it, so they don't have the enzymes. Their body will not be able to produce that because you're not taking in the information. In order for you to develop information, you have to take in information. If you're staying away from information, you can't evolve it. You can't make it work to your benefit. That's the issue with those who avoid food. Systematically avoiding food, and then their generation, their kids are avoiding food, and they can't handle food, and then that's how you destroy a whole genetic line. And so how do you develop lactase enzymes? You must release the demons that are causing you to be deficient. Too many people want to hold on to their demons, so they're afraid of all the food supply, and they are starving. So then all food is poison to them because the body is desperate to evolve. And then the person keeps taking away food from their own immune system, and they are so intolerant to food. Holy fucking shit. I knew it. Northern Europeans, Sweden, Finland, all the extremely tall Caucasians can handle a life in milk. I fucking knew it. See, you can train the body to develop a tolerance for milk and have a strong body without ending up with hypertension, diabetes, and other type of issues. So is it intentional that the black population can't handle milk and the Northern Europeans can? Maybe it's time for you, black population, to save your own culture and deal with the demons. If not, you will destroy yourself because your lack of tolerance to food, and you need milk. You need the fat. Theoretically, this may result either from a strong local selection, pressure from lactose tolerance, or from immigration of lactose-tolerant people to Northern Europe. We provide several lines of archaeological and historical evidence suggesting that high lactose tolerance in Northern Europeans cannot be explained by selection from situ, which is like a situation, milk consumption. It was developed. First, fresh cow milk has not belonged to the traditional diet of Swedes, of Finns, until recent times, so they realized the power of milk. And so the Swedish and the Finnish and all the Northern Europeans figured out that was the key. So they developed that tolerance and they built themselves up, and so they're strong. While their counterparts, those near the equator, are not. But they're strong in a different way relative to the intentions of the economy and the needs. But let me give you the definition of situ. S-I-T-U. In situ, in its original place. For example, in carcinoma is in situ. Abnormal cells are found only in the place where they first formed. They have not spread. So they're not, so that's the thing, is it's something that you can, are found only in the place where they are first formed. So, yeah, so what are they saying? So we provide several lines of archaeological and historical evidence suggest that the high lactose tolerance in Northern European cannot be explained by selection from in situ milk consumption from original place. So yeah, it cannot be explained by selection from in situ. And so first, fresh cow milk has not belonged to the traditional diet of Swedes, of Finns until recent times. Second, not enough milk has been available for adult consumption. Cattle herding has been neither widespread nor producing enough in Northern Europe to have provided constant access to fresh milk. We suggest that the high prevalence of lactose tolerance in Finland in particular may be explained by immigration of people representing so-called corded ware culture, an early culture representing an agricultural development in Europe. And so you have people who were raised on milk, and then they helped evolve a population, and they realized the power of milk. That's why there's lactose tolerance in the Northern European. And so, so they're raised Jewish, and I have Jewish parents, they didn't drink milk. They had the lactose intolerance, and they were very skinny. They were fucking smart, though. But they were bred for whatever position they were in. They were bred for this, not for this. Which is why then you have the cardiovascular issues, the hypertension, all the different autoimmune disorders. Now you see what's going on here. This is so pervasive, so widespread as far as intolerances that you couldn't say this culture is trying to enslave this culture. You look at America, the melting pot, and you look at what we were bred for in 1776, the last great experiment, and you look at all the European countries, World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab, who is from either Germany or Switzerland or wherever, and he is built like a brick shithouse. Yes, he is aging out, but he can release those demons and become younger and more stable. But, I mean, you'll never know. He'll die one day, right? But is he really dead? Or is he going to go back and figure out how to release those demons and become young again, go through that process? And then he come back as a different person, different identity. And so, yeah, the old world of Klaus Schwab that was leading people to pass away and die someday, everyone's following that. Like, oh gosh, Klaus Schwab passed away. When he probably didn't. He probably, they showed his body. Okay, here's a funeral. And then he's over there in a big castle somewhere. I'm just, giving a theoretics. He's in a big castle over there releasing the demons and building himself back up again to then go and be like another person that's going to go and lead a people. And you'll never know that's the same person that passed away. That's the thing. If I can think it up, it's probably happening. Okay, when you realize that I'm not going to die from anything except for, things are out of my control. I'm not going to die from natural causes. You think that Mark Zuckerberg, you think that any of those people, Bezos and everybody in the world don't know this? Fuck, I'm on the internet every goddamn day. Dr. Phil put me out there. The Illuminati freaking videos are demonizing me. So the little lay people, the indigenous people, the developing population, even those that are not very well versed in America, are going to go down the ship with those people that are causing me fucking angst. But those that are high up over there, they're taking in this information. They're realizing, yeah, they know. Or do they not? Or they know. I just happened to discover it because I've had such a perfect storm of a background that I figured out myself. Believe me, no one told me this shit. It wasn't like I was taken somewhere and be like, hey, this is... No. I figured out, and I have excellent recall of my memories. I remember everything, my childhood, but I remember the significant things. I remember so much enough for me to put it all together without destroying myself. There are people out there, again, who are conspiracy theorists that are trying to make all the connections, and they are, but they're dying. They're not taking care of themselves. They're in the activist world, trying to prove to you someone's trying to destroy them. They're passing away. According to the NIH, in adults, lactose intolerant shows up most often people of East Asian heritage, like me. So when I was skinny and I was drinking my Starbucks full of milk, I was shitting my brains out sometimes. All right, so according to NIH, in adults, lactose intolerance shows up in most often people of East Asian heritage, affecting 70 to 100% of the population. Encyclopedia Britannica adds that the condition affects about 75 to 90% of the Native Americans, Black people, Asians, Mediterraneans, and Jewish people. Only about 5% of the Northern Central Europeans have lactose intolerance. Go figure that. Maybe it's time to develop a tolerance. Those who are Native American, Black people, Asians, Mediterraneans, and Jewish people, and East Asian. Maybe it's time to figure out that's the golden nectar that was withheld from you, and then all the symptoms that came along with that was demonized and surgically taken out, remedied out, herbalized out. And then you have all the campaigns. At first they're like, yeah, drink milk, got milk, and all this stuff, right? Now you don't see that anymore. I wonder why. Because back in the got milk days, they were developing innovation. That was the marketing. And then you don't see that anymore. Now everyone, you don't get a centralized mainstream media, because Tucker Carlson's gone, Don Lemon's gone, so now you have CNN that has just pundits. Now you have Fox with just pundits. People are not really watching those anymore because they're streaming services. I don't even have cable, but I do listen to NBC Nightly News and PBS like every night just to hear what they have to say. But everyone's getting information from all over. We're all the news media, and it's the Tower of Babel. Now we're going to see how well you can lead yourself, people. We'll see. Oh, God, don't drink milk. Oh, my God, don't eat the meat, the milk, the cheese, the eggs. Just eat air sandwiches and fast all the time. And don't deal with symptoms. And if you do, remedy it away or surgically take it out. And ask your friends what to do. Have your friends recommend you a doctor, a nurse, a hospital system. So predictable. What is lactase? Lactase is an enzyme produced by many organisms. It is located in the brush border of the small intestine of humans and other mammals. Lactase is essential to complete digestion of whole milk. It breaks down lactose, a sugar which gives milk its sweetness. A lack of lactase can cause uncomfortable symptoms for some people. Those who exhibit symptoms are said to be lactose intolerant. 30 to 50 million people in America are lactose intolerant. 80% of all African Americans and Native Americans are lactose intolerant. I wonder if that was intentional. Remember, I can speculate. Because is it the chicken or the egg? Because you're a mammal, you're supposed to be able to handle milk. Okay? Yeah, as a baby, human milk and cow's milk. And then as you grow up, it's supposed to stay in your diet, in your food supply, but people don't because they don't want to feel the evolution. Remember, they all want to be cured, looking like freaking Schwarzenegger or who's the skinny girls? Schwarzenegger or Twiggy. And so then I said, like, oh, then I looked up, like, milk intolerance and then autistic. I'm like, can milk help autistic people? And they're like, and I look and I'm like, oh shit. They're telling even autistic people, Down syndrome people, anyone with neurological issues to stay away from milk. That's not a coincidence. Like anything, everything has to get worse before it gets better. When you were telling parents to stay away from milk because it makes the autistic symptoms worse, yeah, maybe your kid needs to release the demons. Maybe they need to poop, blow their nose, get sick, get hives, release all those things, cause them to be so deficient in their cognitive and neurological levels of awareness. But are parents equipped to deal with that kind of suffering to live and develop oneself? They're not. So the child, that poor fucking child, is stuck in the same way forever until they pass away. Hopefully with some kind of life, joy of life. That's why I feel sorry for kids nowadays, because the parents are not equipped to deal with the evolution. I feel so bad for these kids nowadays. So I read that one. And so then what causes death rates to fall around 1950? Between 1940 and 1960, infectious diseases as a cause of death continued to decline. But most of this decline was attributable to medical factors such as the use of penicillin, sulfa drugs discovered in 1935, and other antibiotics. Currently, antibiotic resistance is still an issue with sulfa drugs. When you get antibiotic resistance and your body still wants to live, developing life and releasing it, the antibiotics are not supposed to be used. You should never use antibiotics. Your body is supposed to grow and release. You're not supposed to attack your body with any antibiotics. You'll make the demons in your body stronger and work against you, which is why those in the alchemy world are developing the demons in their clients, in their friends, their families, their children. The elderberry syrup, the turmeric, the honey, the apple cider vinegar, all the herbs and the extracts are developing the demons stronger in that person's body. And so, yeah, when you have a closed immune system and you're wanting to stop the current growth of the body, and that growth might be taking more than you're able to, or that's what they told, or you just don't want to feel it, developing another demon seems to be the answer, just like people getting pregnant. Instead of mom and dad developing themselves and becoming stronger, no, they're like, yeah, have a kid, go get pregnant and develop another offspring. That's no different than when you're taking antibiotics. Go develop another offspring to start over again so you don't feel the pain of growth. Now you have that little offspring cannibalize the parental growth as it starts growing up. And then when you feel that thing grow up, that offspring grow up in your body and start wreaking havoc, then you go and get another antibiotic, develop another offspring to cannibalize that. And it is a ongoing infinite cycle until you have nothing left in your body. And so antibiotics develop offspring to cannibalize the parent cell so you don't really ever survive. And the kid wreaks havoc in your body as far as the offspring. And then you die from being sucked dry from all the demons in your body not being released. And then also on top of that, have children. On top of that, be pregnant with another demon offspring. That's the world you live in. Time to release the demons if you want to survive this. Or else keep the demons within you and you have no one to blame but yourself. Good luck.